Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz July 30, 2016 at 11:01 p.m. Birmingham. Topic: What's it like to be socialist slash communist opposed to capitalism? And you're going to have a chance to find out soon if a lot of you get it your way, because you'll be voting in socialism and communism. Sanders, full-blown socialist. When they get that hardcore, you know, some people say socialism is worse than communism, and I think it's the other way around. But I didn't live under either, so I can only tell you what I read. And but capitalism is a whole different world. You're able to do what you want to do. You're able to make yourself what you want to make yourself. You can get into sports. You can get into making bow and arrows. I mean, homemade bow and arrows, or because I know some guys that actually did, and they made good money. Well, like these guys down in Louisiana that makes the duck collars. I mean, they got wealth. They just got on a good luck streak, and they're still reaping the benefits from it. Had they been in Cuba and started that business, or in China or in Russia, then it'd be a different story on the outcome of where they are today. Because the government dictates on how much of it you get and how much of it they get. The more of it you make, the more of it they get. And then, even on their side, you got people shuffling your money under their table, and some of them pocketing your money. But if you were capitalist, that wouldn't happen. You get all of what you make, and you pay taxes on that portion of it that were not operating expense. So go and read, see how people live in China, and look at if you can find it, the percentages of people who were able to start a business and actually succeed in it, opposed to the people that would like to have started a business but were unable to because they were just rejected or told no. It's a no up front. You have to get permission if you're socialist or communist. But in a capitalist country, you don't, you don't, all you got to do is work hard and give it a try and see what happens. And for most of those who know the value of a dollar, having lived or known someone in another country, then you work harder at making it work, and you spend less of it until you know that you're over that hump. When I went into business in 77, service station, my old boss, he told me one thing. He said, "You've worked with me for this, I think, 6 years or something like that." And then I went into the police department. But he said, "You work for me, and you know how much you have to put into it." He said, "But I have some advice." He said, "Don't spend a nickel for 5 years." He said, "Spend only what you have to spend and do what you're doing now. Continue to drive a car that you already own, or if you buy one, just buy a mediocre. Don't go and buy anything other than you would today." And I applied that, and I didn't spend anything for 5 years. And I've known a host of other people, all about my age, about the same time, because you meet people kind of like you or that has the same aspirations, through people you do business with, and you see so many of them fail. Well, that's because in 6 months they see a fat bank account, but they hadn't paid tax yet. And then they go and spend it. Next thing you know, they're out of business. So for 5 years, I did not spend anything. And after that, I bought a new car. And about 3 or 4 years later, I bought another new car. And my wife, on the other hand, she would buy one whenever. But she passed away in 99. But up to that time, I was buying a new car every 2 years, just because I could. Had I lived in a socialist country, I would have never owned the first new car. I would have been lucky to own a good used car. Read, find out what it's like, how hard it is. In other words, the government owns you, they dictate your job, and that's what they're doing right now for all you people that don't work, that like it because you get a government check, but yet you've never done anything to earn it. The day's going to come when that check stops. And then you will do the work that they tell you to do and work at the wages they want to pay you. You owe them. They're paying you now, so they own you already. Thank goodness I've never in my life taken a penny from the government, and I refuse to. As of now, they still owe me, and I'll never owe them. But if you become a communist or a socialist country, then automatically that ride is over, even for those who made it on their own since they were 23 years old. Just want to tell you, you don't know what you're voting for unless you go in and research it, read the difference between socialism, capitalism, read biography, if you can find it. Read what family life is like in Cuba today. Read what it's like in China today. Read what it's like in Russia. And all these other Russian bloc countries. The reason you call them Russian bloc countries because they were all communist. Russia owned all of them until when the Iron Curtain came down, they broke free as well. Georgia, they're not going to go back to socialism if they can help it. Neither will Belgium, neither will Poland. But it's a struggle for them even still today because they were taken over and they depended on it so heavily that it's difficult today, even for people to start a business. But yet, you can now, but soon that's going to change again. Here in our country, you have that ability to go and try it and not be foolish and blow it. Hang in there 5 years with it, and then you will survive. But if you vote socialism, then you can forget even trying to start a business. That's over. That's done. Your home, forget about your home. That's why every one of these countries have these giant apartment buildings. Instead of having one or two together, that's all the perimeter in the inner city is. Giant apartment buildings. They give you an apartment. Yeah, and most of them they pay for it. But it's only a 250 to 450 square foot apartment, depending on your ability. And most people, 250, if you're single, you're lucky to have that. Most of the time you have to live with a parent until you marry and then you get your own. Other than that, you stay with your parents or someone else. And again, if you read up and study Cuba, you can find out what it was like pre-socialism and post-socialism, during socialism. and you won't like it because it's far different than America. And most of the people today, naturally, those our age today, they'll never see anything better than what they have. They'll never buy a new car. You see these shows where they can't afford tires. So think about voting socialism, capitalism. If you vote socialism, then you do what they tell you the rest of your life. Capitalism, then you do what you want to do the rest of your life, as long as you do it honestly. Think about it. Jody Wolf Expoz.